Not
When they can
much.
leave.
Not much, really. I mean, it's slow time. I just check, leave my computer open and see what the next 50 people in the portal will look like, and no, it's very productive spring. It was very important for us to get back to pre-COVID habits and to have an off season. And last year, at the end of the season, we got wrecked with COVID. So we basically stopped everything we were doing and tried to stay healthy. So trying to get back in that mold. Obviously nobody in this program has had an off season. It's a very important 4 weeks for us with Fletch, with individual workouts. TA and Chester and Jeff have been unbelievable in terms of identifying players' weaknesses and then taking that to the court and just spending time with them individually on weaknesses to get better. And so as their bodies transform and move and we get towards the end of the semester, it's a really good feeling to go into the summer and knowing that there's a base and they can help these new guys when they get here in June to jump right in and feel comfortable. So I say the best thing about freshmen is they become sophomores, and this is why they have an off season. And this 5-month period is huge for them. We forget that Coleman and Brandon really haven't had an off season either because of all the last couple of years. So big excited about that. Obviously, Ben going into the portal today, that's wish him nothing but the best and continued success. He was an outstanding student. He put himself in a position to graduate and felt like that playing time was something that he wanted to try to enhance, and doing that elsewhere was something he was excited about. So we thank him, we wish him the best, and then we'll continue to keep recruiting as the portal just keeps adding players every day, and that time frame's coming to an end here on the 1st, and things will settle in a little bit, and we'll go from there.
Brad, have you been able to have an exit, would be considered an exit interview with the dudes, all the dude guys on your roster as of right now?
With all of the
Guys that were on last year's team?
yeah. And those happen right after the season. Obviously, we're with them every day on the court, but that's something that again, we're in the completely new era of what teams look like and how you build them, and so they change their minds every other day, it seems like, and we'll have to live with that as we continue to move forward here in the next few years.
Can't name names, obviously, but there's different skill sets and position-wise that you want to add to the roster.
Well, obviously with Kofi's loss, I mean, there's going to be a different different dimension for us, and we'll have to see what that looks like as we go through. Obviously, we touch the paint a lot just through post entries. We're going to continue to touch the paint. We're just going to do that through different ways, and we set out in this class with the high school guys that we signed. Those 4 young men can all touch the paint off the bounce. They're very gifted. They can go get one anytime they want, and that was a priority for us in this class. And obviously with with Kofi being gone, Dane gives us a different skill set. He's very versatile, and we'll fit in the pieces as as need be in terms of continuing to add another big, continuing to add shooting, and guys with some athleticism.
Brad, do you have to recruit your own roster in a sense, the guys that are here?
Absolutely.
Do you feel that they could go into the portal?
Every day.
What does that look like for you?
Every day. It's building relationships, and it's every day. And again, it's it's you know, we're in a cycle where usually if a kid goes into the portal, it's been shopped around by somebody for multiple weeks, and you know, their people, their whatever, are calling so and so. You know, it's just continually building relationships, and you know, I think every year if you can have 3, 4, 5 guys that stay pretty consistent, that's pretty much what we're going to see in the recruiting process.
Brett, Jake and Hodge put their names into the draft. Is there clarity on their future? Do you expect them back at all next year?
Decisions to be made. You know, it's no different than what we did with Io and Kofi, and so that's time will tell. There, we've got to continue to recruit and build a roster, and that's keep the lines of communication open, and that's what we'll do.
How hard is it to operate on a daily basis with all these unknowns?
It's not easy. It's not fun. I know that. It's miserable. This isn't what any of us signed up for to get in this. You know, I remember the days when you signed 2 or 3 kids in the fall. You knew what your roster was. You planned. You built. You had guys graduate. You had guys on track to graduate. You knew what your APR was. You knew what your retention was, and it's complete unknown. And to sit here and say that I haven't talked to a coach yet that's having any fun. And I talked to 3 today, and everybody's miserable because of all the unknowns and the very little control that we do have. But that's a challenge, and I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. It's the hand we're dealt right now, and we got hit with 2 major changes, the biggest in the history of our game and in our sport, in the transfer portal and NIL, and to have really no rules and no guidelines as to, or parameters as to what's next. It's a helpless feeling, and along with that is uncertainty. But we're going to tackle it the best way we can, and we're going to find young student athletes who want to be a part of Illinois basketball. And I'm not complaining. It's just very different than anything we've ever seen, and that doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just the uncertainty's not fun.
From your perspective,
What do you think could make it all better for everyone?
I have no idea. There's you know, I got a letter today from an email from the Big Ten, and there's all kinds of committees. The Oversight Committee in football and basketball are looking to do different things with calendars. At some point, we've got to get academics back into this. You know, kids, when they transfer, lose hours. We've worked so many years for graduation, for retention rates, 4-year scholarships. All those things are by the wayside. And, you know, we're the 15th ranked public institution in the United States, and we're not talking academics. And kids are, you know, flying out of here in every place with a transfer and no idea that they're losing hours, and how do we get to graduation rates? So it's you know, in my opinion, it's the kids who are losing. They're making a few dollars, but it's I don't know if it's sustainable.
Coach, a little off topic, but could you comment on Mark Emmert deciding to step down, and does that leave any kind of leadership vacuum as you deal with all these big changes?
Well, I think that the NCAA's obviously come under a lot of changes. They've basically rewritten their manuals, and I don't know what that means long term. I think that Mark has been in a in a very tough situation, and what his factors were for stepping down, I haven't read. I just know that he's doing that, but we'll see. I don't know if that means conferences manage it. I don't know if there's a commissioner of basketball or football, whatever that looks like down the road. I don't know, but there's obviously a reworking of what has been the NCAA manual. There's a committee transformation committee that's trying to put really a new rule book, a set of guidelines together, and we'll see how that all plays out.
Brad, what have you and your staff been able to communicate to Coleman about what his role could look like, not only on the floor but off the floor next year? What does that look like for you?
He's a veteran. I mean, we need a leader, good player, a guy that started. These guys are in positions to, as I call it, move up the scouting report and have things that, changes for them. And you've got to be prepared for that. You've got to be prepared when the other team's trying to stop you, and you become a focal point of what you're trying to do. And again, a lot of that for all these guys has been the weight room, has been getting stronger, has been getting tougher, having that mindset. But also a big part of that for Coleman is leadership. And we got a group of freshmen that come in here, and they need guidance. They need somebody who's going to tell them how to do it. And he's a veteran. He's been around, and we'll be counting on him.
Were you able to take advantage of this spring with this 4 weeks with the coach-to-player ratio being maybe closer to 1-to-1 than
Oh,
everyone?
it's huge. It's huge. And I mean, we've done small group, individual stuff. We've been out of Ubben, and we've been in the Arc, which has been great. We've had 2 courts, so we've been literally at 4 baskets, and just really narrowing things down has been great from that aspect, and that's been a real positive. And again, our coaches are phenomenal at the individual stuff. So we've addressed a lot of needs, and it's been great to watch and observe they're getting better.
Everyone seems to think modern basketball's built on the offensive end. I think defensively it's maybe even more important. What is the switchability, ability to put ball screens, all that stuff with Dane and Coleman bring to you guys next year on that end of the court?
Yeah, I think we're different, obviously, without Kofi on that end as well. I think that we have to be careful that we don't forget that in college there's no 3 seconds in the paint, or there is 3 seconds in the paint. Excuse me. It's not like the NBA where they have that rule, and we've got to be able to understand there's not going to be drastic changes in terms of schemes, because everybody's going to load up, and they're going to protect the paint. But what we do in ball screen coverages can be a little different. It can be a little more, have a little more flavor to it, so to speak, and variety. But again, until we get everybody, and I say this all the time, defensive chemistry is the hardest thing to find. Until we get everybody and get our eyes on them, together, we'll determine what that looks like.
Brad, you said RJ has the makings of a future star. We saw flashes of that. What's that process look like to building him up into that?
Yeah, work. Just make the jump. From a freshman to a sophomore, and that young guy's put on a lot of weight. He squatted 300 yesterday, which when we first got here, we were afraid to put a bar on his back. He's a guy that has got to continually work on his ball handling. And a guy that athletically has a tremendous amount of gifts to do a lot of things, and we just want to keep enhancing those things. It's one of the big adjustments freshmen make, perimeter players, is usually they get stronger so they can make a move to get to a spot. Then you have to become, this is where Io grew. He became a good enough ball handler that he could make a second move and get to another spot. Then you become unguardable. And those are the things that we're working with RJ to try to do is not just make the first move, but make the second one, because you're an elite ball handler.
Will you take a breath on May 1st, or do you feel like that's a hard deadline?
No. I think I don't know if there's going to be waivers.
Right.
I would assume that at some level there's going to be those. I'm not going to take a break until our guys get here in June. It is full-on grind, and to see what that looks like. So, the calendars don't match because we have a May 1st transfer deadline. We have a June 1st pullout deadline, and for the NBA. So the calendars aren't in sync. And what that means, I don't know yet. The NCAA is going to determine that with how they approach waivers. And we did waivers we put in the transfer rule happened so we could do away with waivers. A lot of people talking about a lot of different waivers, so
Do you
we'll
stay
see.
patient in the portal because of that?
Yes, very. You don't hear a lot about us in your guys' world on social and all that. I mean, it's the right guys. There's going to be another wave. There's, I don't know, with 300 plus in the NBA, not all those guys can get, there's going to be 60 drafted. So the guys are going to make decisions to come back. It's about the right fit. We'll see who's in the draft, in the portal. You know, we'll see how all that plays out. But yeah, we're going to stay. You know, I think you'll see a run of guys here on Thursday and Friday that may jump in the portal that are in the draft to keep their options open as well. So, you know, patience is a virtue, but you want to find the right guys. And if you find the right guy, you better take it.
Do you anticipate keeping a scholarship open just as kind of a regular thing now, or?
In a perfect world, yes. Excuse me. In a perfect world, yes. Or two. I think that we've got to come to the realization that you're not playing 13 guys and going to keep all 13 happy. So why bring somebody in here, work them out, get them through, and then have them transfer? So I think you're going to find possibility to have 1, 2, 3 guys scholarships open potentially. See what happens this semester. We all know that the mid-semester stuff, it worked great for us this year. You know, with the ability to get Dane. So yeah, I think it just makes sense to be able to do that.
Stood out about Dane's buy-in to that process over the last 2 years. Not playing games, and I know Fletch was really pushing him. Stood out there.
Character. I mean, he's a unbelievable warrior. I mean, that kid is driven. He wants to be great. He is literally done absolutely everything that we've asked him to do, from the weight room to the workouts to the nutrition piece. That's a commitment to buy-in, and I mean, we're talking about a high character guy who's hadn't played a game yet, but goodness, has he been tremendous to this point.
Luke kind of talked about being anxious to take on more of a leadership role now that there's kind of been turnover on the roster. How's he kind of taken to that over the last couple of weeks?
It's natural for Luke. Luke can tell he was a quarterback. You know, he's got instincts, he's got feel. He's, you know, he tried to do that this year. You know, feeling his way through that is sometimes hard for a freshman. You know, he has had a phenomenal spring. He's gotten bigger. You see it in his shoulders, his back. His game has grown from his ball handling, and with that will come a confidence that is instinctive for him to lead. And you know, he's got an innate ability to draw people to him. He's likable, and yet he's not afraid to talk a little trash, get into somebody. He knows right from wrong, and so I'm really excited. I think he's a guy that will be an incredible asset in our locker room.
I don't know what Brandon's role is going to be, but in this day when people are leaving, he seems really committed to the process.
He's gotten better. I mean, he has just gotten better. Brandon is, you know, he's adding weight, he's adding strength, and with that has come confidence. He's probably got confidence knowing Kofi's not here and he has to go against that every day. So it's, but no, he's just getting better and better and better. And as that process is happening with age and maturity, we see his confidence rise. And you know, he's had moments in practice. He didn't see those moments on the court necessarily, but you know, he really shoots it. He's got great hands. He's got great timing as a shot blocker. And yeah, I'm excited for him because the next 4 or 5 months are really big.